and they are hunting unbelievably well. They are so effective, and at the moment, or what we have seen since their release onto the reserve, is that they've stuck together quite closely. Good morning everyone, welcome back to a stunningly beautiful day on Shamwari Private Game Reserve. It's been a while since I've chatted to you guys, and you can see there's a lot of water around. I'm driving in mud at the moment. We've had some really good rain the last couple of days, and it's just the bush is just starting to come to life. We're at the end of our winter season now, and we are about 5 to 6 weeks away from springtime, so a really exciting time of the year. But that's not the only excitement we've had. Very recently we've had an addition of 2 animals that have been released onto the reserve, and no doubt a favorite of many of our viewers, and indeed mine, a stunning animal, and that is the cheetah. We have released 2 female cheetah onto the reserve, and they're a new addition that will hopefully be bringing some new bloodlines and genetic material onto the reserve. And as we've seen from previous episodes and introductions, the reason we have done that is part of responsible conservation, where there's no longer the ability of animals to move over vast distances as they did hundreds and thousands of years ago. And now it's up to responsible conservation organizations like Shamwari and many other places that form part of these network groups of people who have the ability to understand how important it is to have good healthy animals and good healthy bloodlines. And in so doing, we've had 2 females brought from the northern parts of South Africa and introduced to us, and they are doing phenomenally well, and they are hunting unbelievably well. They are so effective, and at the moment, or what we have seen since their release onto the reserve, is that they've stuck together quite closely. That is quite strange for cheetah in general, but it's not too strange for young cheetah. And in this case, these 2 females are quite young. But as we know with cheetah, females are territorial. They don't form coalitions like males generally, and they'll go off on their own eventually and form their own territories, and then hopefully the males on this reserve will mate with them, so the responsible conservation and the ability of animals to increase in numbers gets to happen. Yeah, last station, just confirm you're calling me. Yeah, affirmative. Mafari is close. So you can see she's very vocal at the moment. And everyone is so used to hearing lions roaring and leopards rasping, very loud communication, and it's almost like a jackal calling, as well as a little bit of almost like a purr in the communication. Obviously there's been a split up for some other reason through the night. I know yesterday they were seen together, and this morning obviously apart from one another, so this would just be them communicating, or her trying to communicate to try and locate her sister and link up again. No problem, it's Andrew. We're just busy filming here, so my comms will be off. You guys can carry on. Okay, thank you very much. And one of the reasons why we had to bring new bloodlines into the reserve is because of how endangered cheetahs are. You must remember that animals had the ability to move over continents, vast continents, for thousands of years. And obviously with roads and fences and that type of stuff that's restricting movement and populations from being able to mix and diversify, this now forms part of responsible conservation practices. So these two cheetah females are quite young still, and as they were released, they've been released together as a pair, not to say that they will stay as a coalition. That's a characteristic that we find in male cheetahs, where males born within a litter of cubs will stay together for their entire lives, sometimes two brothers or four, whatever it may be. They'll stay as a coalition for their entire lives. Cheetahs, once they reach a certain age, they'll split up and go on their own way, and the only time you'll see cheetahs that are females and have numbers with them is when it's their own cubs or they're busy mating. So we expect these females to break off pretty soon and go their own separate ways. Once they start coming into estrus, and obviously our cheetah on the reserve meeting up with them, there will be interactions. We've seen these cheetah already now. They are a force to be reckoned with. They are really super confident. So these two females have adapted really well to the reserve. They've made themselves at home and they are functioning at a high level. They are really capable hunters. We've watched them hunting successfully and bring down prey items, things like blesbok. In fact, the other day we had an amazing interaction. Just to show you the level of confidence of these cheetah, is they had hunted successfully, brought down a blesbok, and were busy feeding on it. Not too far away from that, there was a giraffe that had died from natural causes, and the lions were feeding on that. The southern pride male picked up wind of these cheetah and made a beeline, because as we know, predatory competition is massive between lions and cheetah, and very often it's the cheetah that gets the short end of the stick. And anyway, as it happens, the lion went in there and chased those females off of their kill and actually took it away from them. You know, they weren't terrified. They saw him coming in. They knew he was a big threat to them, but they moved away with confidence, which is great to see, because obviously if you have cheetah that are lion savvy, they are aware of other predators, the chances of them getting ambushed or taken out by other predators is way less, and the probability of them being successful in the area is just way higher then. So as these cheetah have been released onto the reserve and they're now starting to make themselves at home in their environment, and indeed they will establish territories here, so there have been interactions with other animals that we've seen. Things like rhinos, things like lions, they've stood their ground and moved slowly away. So as we've seen with these females, when they have made kills, in true typical cheetah fashion, they bolt their food really efficiently, able to maximize the amount of meat that they can get in the most short period of time, so that they can avoid time around the carcass, because at the end of the day they don't have the strength and the capability to stand up to lions and other predators, and going through all of that energy to hunt and potentially just have a kill that's taken away from them, and they haven't had enough time to eat enough meat off of that carcass, it would be a waste. So these guys, typical cheetah behavior, they bolt as much meat off as possible from the inside of that animal, the vital organs, the liver, the kidneys, the heart, the really nutrient-rich meat, as well as the soft inside meat, and then if the kill is taken away from them, at least they've got the majority of nutrients from it and they can move off. So as these females start living on the reserve and finding their niche and activities, so they will go into estrus, and hopefully those pheromones will be picked up by the male cheetah on this reserve, and we will have mating taking place, because at the end of the day, it's about breeding so that this animal, which is so endangered, can increase in numbers. Gestation period is a little bit less than 3 months, and hopefully after that time period we'll have anywhere from 1 to 4 furry little baby cubs on the reserve. Well, there we go, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been great to give you this update. We will keep you posted with all the sightings that we find. Any relevant information, you're going to find it right back here. So stay safe, and we'll see you soon.